Hello, this is an amazing story. It's a story that happened to Reb Shmelke of Nikolsburg. We know that Reb Shmelke was a very great tzaddik. I read the story elsewhere, but here's how the story is written in Sipurei Chassidut. So, Reb Shmelke was a Hasidic Rebbe, but a lot of the people in the towns of Nikolsburg were not, and they didn't really agree with how he behaved. So they decided they were going to fire him from his job as the rabbi of the city. So there were, I guess, the people in charge of the shul, and they called the shamash. The shamash is like a guy who is hired to clean the shul and take care of things. And they told him, please go tell the rabbi that he's fired. So the shamash said, but why are you firing him? So they said, well, it's not your business. So he said, no, but please tell me. I really, really want to know. So they said, okay, if you really want to know, he behaves very strangely. So the shamash says, listen, Reb Shmelke is a tzaddik. So they knew him to be a righteous person, the shamash, and they said, tell us, what makes you say that he's a tzaddik? He said, every single night, in the olden days, this is how it went, there was somebody that would go around the city and wake everybody up in the morning before sunrise to get up to come to shul. They would knock on the doors and say, Kum shteyu for avodas habayra, come get up to serve Hashem. And this is what they did. So every night I go around to wake everyone else. And I always see Reb Shmelke with another man. He's studying Torah. So I asked him, who is this other man? So he says, this is Eliyahu Hanavi. Then one night, as the morning came, I see he's walking out two men. The one man was the man that I always saw, Eliyahu Hanavi, Elijah the prophet who would come to teach him Torah, and a man that had a crown on his head. So I said to him, who's this man? So that man is Menashe, the king of Israel. There was a very terrible king, and his name was Menashe. And he even set up an idol in the Beis HaMikdash, in the Holy Temple. And he said, he came to me regarding a halachic question that came to him that day. What was the question? The question was that there was a man in a neighboring city, a chassid, and he had this habit of going to smash idols. So it was other people's churches, other people's places, and yet he'd go no matter what, and he'd smash it up. And so then the law caught up with him, and especially it was a time that wasn't very nice to Jews, and they sentenced him to death, and they killed him. So the widow, his wife, came. The city had a fund where people who didn't have money, a widow could come, and they would give them money. But the people said, this fund is for people who die naturally, not people who do something that gets themselves killed. And so the question came to the rabbi of the city, should they give money or not? Anyway, so the rabbi of the city didn't know what to do, so he sent a question to Reb Shmelke. So Menashe, the king of Israel, came to him, obviously, from heaven, and he said, that person was me. Because we know there's something called reincarnation. One soul goes into another body. And so after a person passes away, they can come into another body. So Menashe said, I had to fix up that terrible thing, the sin that I did, that I put an idol in the Beis HaMikdash. How did I fix it up? I fixed it up by smashing idols in this lifetime. And so Reb Shmelke Paskin, he gave the halacha, the verdict, the law, that community should pay for this widow. And they all lived happily ever after. Thank you.